Hi, I'm Alina. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you like my content, then please like, comment, subscribe, share. That helps my channel and I appreciate all of you. In this video, I want to talk about money mindset and some of the lessons I learned from listening to some interviews with the very successful people, listening to financial podcasts, listening or reading books. It is by no means a financial advice. Again, those are just tips and tricks I learned for myself and I want to share them with you. And if you choose to follow those as well, I hope that it can be useful for both of us. So, first of all, what is money? Essentially, money is energy. Money likes to come to those who know how to properly manage them. So you actually need to get clear on what it is that you want, how much money you need, and what you're gonna spend them on. You can even pause this video and write down your clear goals, because that would be the first step on getting what you want, is to get clear on it. Because money should not be an end goal on its own. Money is actually just a bonus that comes to you when you both love what you're doing and you are passionate about it, and also when you provide value to other people. So if your goal just to get rich, how a lot of people say, to just do whatever I want to do, whatever I want at any time I want, that's not gonna take you too far. That's very vague, and I repeat that money likes to come to those who actually know how to properly manage them. So think about it. Even if today or tomorrow you won a lottery, like $1 million, do you know what actually that is that you're gonna do with those $1 million? Or will you be able to sustain that $1 million in a long run, and moreover make those $1 million into a $2 million, into $3 million? Would you be able to do that? Do you know where to properly put this $1 million into? You can even take a step further and actually write down plan your budget like you already have those $1 million, or however much you set for yourself. You can write down what you're gonna put it into like you already have it. So whenever this money actually come to you, you know how to sustain that amount in a long run and not just mindlessly spend it. Also, I personally don't believe in competition, and if you think that you need to take resources from someone else in order to become rich, that is a wrong mindset to be in, because that also kind of makes you think of money as evil. Money is, as I mentioned before, it's just an energy. It is pretty neutral. Thinking of money as evil, that's just your personal perception of it. And how much money do you think will really come to you if that is the way you think of them? Also, according to the book that's called The Science of Getting Rich, there are unlimited resources available and there is an abundance for everyone. And whatever you believe in, God or universe or anything else that you believe in, that higher power actually wants you to be abundant, because the more abundant you are, the happier person you are, and the more you are able to fulfill your life, the more useful you are to others in terms of you can help others and to help them get to that level as well. So don't think that being rich, being wealthy, and there is a difference, we're also going to talk about it. Don't think that this is something evil, because if that is how you're going to think, again, how much money you think actually going to come to you if that is your perception. Think quite the opposite, that the higher power itself wants you to be abundant. Because look around you, look around at the nature. Nature is a definition of abundance, and you, as a part of that nature, can also achieve that for yourself. Now, what is that definition of being rich versus being wealthy? Well, essentially, from what I learned, being rich, you still live in paycheck to paycheck, because whatever you make, you spend pretty quickly. But being wealthy actually means that whatever you make, you can sustain it in a long run. And the big part of it is actually investments. You do need to invest and not be scared of it. And what I learned from one of the financial podcasts, that you need to learn to invest early and often, one. And second is not about time in the market, it's about time in the market. I'm quoting from one of the podcasts. And that is very true. You need to learn to how to invest. I'm not gonna talk about it in depth in this video, since also, as I mentioned, it is not a financial advice. You need to go and do your own research. But basically, you need to learn what to invest in, how to invest. You need to most likely set up your investments automatically. Perhaps it's every month or however often you can afford. But basically, you need to automate your investments, and you need to be able to just jump on that wave and ride it whenever it's gonna go down, whenever it's gonna go up. Don't be too emotional about it. In fact, don't be emotional about it. Do not invest based on your emotions. If you can't handle yourself in your emotions when it comes to money and investments, as I said, just automate it so the machine does it for you. Again, it's not a financial advice, and do your own research, but those are some of the basics about the investments. If you do your research, you're gonna learn that there are also different things you can invest in. So another thing that I learned from listening to some of the interviews with the very successful people is that, as I mentioned, becoming rich and having money was never an end goal for them. The way they became rich, even though I was listening to some different people in very different fields and very different professions, is that they are actually really, really passionate about what they're doing, even to the point of obsession. What is really common among some very successful people is that they obsess about that thing that they're doing, to the point that sometimes they have no social life. Most of the spare time that they have, they spend it working, learning their craft, learning anything they can about that craft, not taking things too close to their heart. What I mentioned before is not being too emotional about things, and treating any setback not as a failure but as an opportunity to learn and grow from it. Another thing is that you always have to remember is that, well, actually a few things. First of all, obviously rejection is a redirection, then not everything gives you an instant gratification, and sometimes you need to be able to work towards your goal for a really long time in order to see results eventually. If you get in no as a response, then most of the times you're probably talking to the wrong person. The only failure is when you give up. A lot of people tend to view money, as I touched on it previously, as something evil. And if that is a perception you have about money, then don't get surprised when you don't have money. Another commonality between some of those very successful people is that they always, whatever money they get, they invest them back into their craft, into their business. They don't think of like, I got this amount of money and I'm gonna spend 80%, 70% on myself and invest 10 to, I don't know, 20, 30% back into my business or into my craft. It's very much the opposite. They tend to invest 70, 80% back into their business and then spend only this 20% on themselves. They're not afraid to risk and they're not afraid to lose this money. And every time they are not afraid to lose this money and take risk, a lot of these times is when they get even more return, even more than what they invested, what they had before. So basically anytime they give money, they get twice as much in return, if not more. That's another common thing that I noticed from listening to some of the interviews. Some people say experience any day beats materialistic things. I tend to agree with that. I tend to agree that experiences is what we remember the most. But I also do think that in terms of materialistic things is not just about buying things to how some people consider it to show off. What I think is that when you spending money on materialistic things is more about premium comfort and premium quality you get your first big income, paycheck, whatever that is. You can spend it wisely on things that will give you a more comfortable life. One of the big differences, as I touched on it previously, is that the mindset between wealthy and poor, or those who even make a lot of money but kind of live paycheck to paycheck, one of the main differences is investment mindset versus a consumer mindset. So instead of thinking how can you spend that X amount of money, think about how you can invest that X amount of money and how you can make that money work for you. There are different rules on that, and it's not even rules, but that's just some things that people do. So someone says if you can't buy two of whatever that is, don't buy it. And some people say that if you want to buy something, you need to invest that equal amount of whatever you spend it on your purchase. You need to invest the equal amount of money. However it works better for you, you can decide. And then another important thing is that if you have a high interest debt, you better pay that off first before really investing, because if you have a high interest debt, basically you can never make more money on investments than that amount of money you actually losing on that high interest debt. Whatever amount of money you want to have or make, essentially this needs to become a part of your identity. It needs to be normal for you. You need to really, really normalize it and don't feel guilty about suddenly becoming rich and suddenly making a lot more than you used to. This needs to be something you identify with. Because again, if that feels like something very foreign to you and you get scared and then you lose a lot of money as soon as you make them, and you spend a lot of them and you are not able to sustain them long term. That's why it really needs to be something normal to you, so you don't feel like if you gain somewhere else then you gonna have to lose somewhere else. Remember back to what I said in the very beginning, there is an abundance for everyone and there are limited resources. Sometimes it's even unconscious mindset that money is evil and having money is evil, and you really, really need to believe that the higher power itself, whatever that is you believe in, wants you to be abundant. So you can not only live fulfilling life, but you can also help others around you as well. And one of the other things I would like to mention is that it's not only best when you do what you really love doing and you are passionate about it and you really put your energy and effort into that craft of yours, but it is also really, really important to take breaks before the break takes you, and to really pay attention to your health, because your health should always be a top priority, because as we all know, without health we're not going to be able to do anything. And taking breaks is not only good for your health in the long run, but it is also even better for that craft that you're working on, because those moments of you pausing and reflecting and getting clear on your next step can really help you to achieve clarity and maybe even get some new ideas, new perspective, and new insights on things as well that will propel you towards your success. If this topic is interesting to you, I might do more videos on this topic, and I'm gonna do my best to learn even more things about this topic so I can share them with you. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.